President Trump rallying in the Sunshine.
1 year from now, I will join voters across the Sunshine State, my home, as we head to the polls, and together we will win back the House, we will hold the Senate, and we will keep that beautiful, beautiful White House.
Well, there he was, the president rallying in the Sunshine State last night as a new poll shows a possible shakeup in the Democratic field, at least at the top of the race, as rising Mayor Pete Buttigieg, and a drop in support for Senator Elizabeth Warren. We have complete Fox coverage for you this morning. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich is our headliner. But first, we go to Peter Ducey, who is live in Iowa this morning. Hey, Peter.
Good morning, Sandra. These new numbers from Quinnipiac show Joe Biden holding steady in first place, but Elizabeth Warren with half the support she had a month ago. In October, she had 28 points in this poll. Today, just 14 points. So she has now fallen to third place behind second place Mayor Pete Buttigieg, whose steady rise continues.
You know, we felt it on the ground for some time, began to see it reflected in the early states, and encouraging that that's being reflected nationally, too.
As the Democratic field shuffles, President Trump is campaigning against all of them, but keeping most of his attention on the top and Joe Biden.
What business are you in, sir? The mailbox business? Oh, bail bond. Whoa, that's good. You know Hunter Biden? Do you know Sleepy Joe? Bail bond.
This national Quinnipiac poll finds that billionaire Michael Bloomberg is starting towards the bottom with 3% national support, which ties him with Kamala Harris, who is trying to shore up support in Iowa by celebrating Thanksgiving with her family and a local family here in Iowa.
A lot of people try to avoid talking politics at the Thanksgiving table. How do you avoid that when Kamala Harris is coming over for dinner?
You know, I mean, I think it'll come up, but there's so many things to talk about. And it's about family, it's about friends, it's about, you know, whatever, just, you know, how's everybody doing? How's life?
Senator Harris had sweet potatoes and collard greens in her carry-on bag coming from South Carolina, so ingredients from multiple early states will be represented at Thanksgiving dinner. Sandra?
Peter Ducey, thank you for that. Time for today's headliner, former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich. He joins us now. And for more of him, you can check out Gingrich360.com. Mr. Speaker, good morning, and thank you for being here.
Good morning. I'm still reflecting on the idea that a California U.S. Senator carrying greens from South Carolina to a Thanksgiving table in Iowa is somehow going to turn her campaign around. A nice gimmick, but doesn't strike me that it's going to get her anywhere except 3%.
Well, they have stumped you. All right, so next week, after we all finish our turkey and the dishes are clean and put back in the cabinet, we are going to see more impeachment hearings. The House Judiciary and Chairman Jerry Nadler has announced that these will begin on Wednesday. No witnesses have been named. We don't know a lot about these, but it looks like this is how they're going to proceed, Speaker.
Well, look, I think from the White House perspective, you have to ask, are all of the interviews that were secret now going to be made available to the White House? I mean, they can't just pick and choose, interview lots and lots of people, and then cherry pick a handful of quotes. So I think that from the White House perspective, this is a moment to negotiate for access to everything which Adam Schiff got in his secret kangaroo court approach, and then make sure that they set rules that allow the White House and the House Republicans to bring their witnesses to Nadler's committee hearings so that they don't have the kind of one-sided, genuine kangaroo court that Adam Schiff was running.
Congressman Doug Collins told Sean Hannity that he thinks that Democrats don't really have anything. They haven't come up with impeachable acts by the president. Here's what he told Sean Hannity.
But you know how I know they don't really have anything? Because his first hearing next week is they're going to bring academics in to tell us what an impeachable offense is. I'll tell you what an impeachable offense is not. It's everything we've seen from Adam Schiff and the Democrats for the past year as they've attacked a very successful president who is simply doing the best job he can for America.
You were heavily involved in the impeachment effort against then President Clinton. Is it all that difficult to come up with the definition of an impeachable offense?
No, look, this is Nadler, Chairman Nadler, desperate to get some attention from TV. He's been sitting there, I think, very upset because what should have been in the Judiciary Committee was given by Speaker Pelosi to Schiff in the Intelligence Committee. Never been done before, totally wrong. And so this is Nadler's moment to finally shine. And I think that they're stumbling around. I think they're very worried because Nadler earlier had some disastrous hearings, and I don't think they're very confident in his ability to run these hearings. But I think, first of all, I think Collins you had a very effective defender of the president, and I think he'll be very effective on the committee hearing. But there's a deeper part of this. When we impeached Bill Clinton, we started with an independent counsel report that used the word guilty on 11 different counts, including perjury, which is a felony. Now, they got a report out of Mueller, and despite 2 years of effort, he didn't use the word guilty once. So the difference in the standard between this circus that Schiff has been running and what we did in response to a genuine report by an independent counsel, they're just radically different. And I think we also followed, basically, Peter Rodino, the Democrat chairman in Watergate. We followed his rules for bipartisanship. What they've done is totally one-sided, and I think virtually guarantees that no Republican in the House or the Senate is going to vote to impeach.
On that note, there's this Democratic Congresswoman from Michigan, Brenda Lawrence, who made a lot of headlines yesterday because she was a Democrat that obviously voted yes in the House for the impeachment inquiry. She then said, and made headlines for such, that she did not see the value in impeaching the president and that she was moving more towards the suggestion of censure. Well, she must have received a lot of pushback within her party yesterday because she seemed to change her stance throughout the day, and here was her yesterday.
I have not flipped, but I was trying to bring some reason to the Senate Republicans. At minimum, you must say that this president has some accountability for his actions. They flipped it and said something that I didn't say. And for the record, I'm 100% convinced by the facts, the investigations, the hearings, and all that's been presented in this very thorough investigation that President Trump should be impeached.
So she seemed to clarify that what she had originally said, censure, not impeachment, but then said at a minimum censure.
Look, the left wing of the Democratic Party is rabid basically to a point where it's a pathology. They hate Trump. They know he's guilty of something. They don't know what it is. They get up every morning and they go, he's really guilty. We've really got to get rid of him. What she actually said the other day I thought was pretty intelligent, which was not about guilt or innocence. It was, we're now within a year of an election. It's let the American people decide this. The idea that a handful of professional politicians sitting in the U.S. House are going to take the presidency away from someone who had 63 million Americans vote for him and do so on the edge of an election, I think is a very, very dangerous idea. And I thought the other day that she was trying to say, to her colleagues, hey, maybe this is not all that clever. Now, of course, she also serves now as a real example. You back off and your left wing is just going to beat you into the ground. And that's why, in the end, Pelosi's probably going to have to move impeachment, even though she knows it's stupid. She knows it's not going to go anywhere in the Senate, and she knows it's probably going to get a bunch of her marginal members defeated.
Then why did she get bullied into doing it? I mean, she was very reluctant to bring impeachment forward and somehow got pushed, I guess, by the more liberal wing of her party.
Well, I mean, if you looked at people like AOC, these are fanatics. The intensity of their emotional commitment to being destructive is really quite remarkable. And you go out then to the Steyers and to the activists out in the countryside. My guess is if you went to the average Democratic meeting anywhere in America today, you would have a 3 or 4 to 1 representation of people who are passionate about getting Donald Trump. And the reason is they have never accepted his beating Hillary Clinton. They cannot believe that he's now gotten 165 federal judges who are conservative. They deeply dislike him. They deeply dislike his policies. And they, it really is a pathology. This is not politics. This is a psychological condition.
So for the
and of course, every day that he tweets, he reminds them.
For the Democratic Party, it still comes down to then who can they put forward that can beat President Trump. And here's the latest polling from CNN that shows that Elizabeth Warren is falling behind, which we've seen in other recent polls. But this one does show Mike Bloomberg, polling top 5. He's in there now since announcing at 3%. Your thoughts about him jumping in the race?
Oh, look, I think Bloomberg ought to be smarter than to do this. I'm glad he's in the race because he's the biggest apologist for the Chinese dictatorship that we have. He actually gave an interview 3 weeks ago saying that it really wasn't a dictatorship. And I think it'll be great to have Bloomberg out there debating that. But the truth is, in the end, unless he's prepared to spend $4 or $5 or $6 billion, not 30 or 40 million, but $4 or $5 or $6 billion, he's not going to be a serious candidate. Now, there is a dollar value where you could hire every teenager in Iowa to help, literally, hire every teenager to help you with the precinct caucus. If Bloomberg's willing to go in that heavy, I think he could become a serious candidate. But I don't think he will. What he may do is he may contribute to getting to a brokered convention. Although I have to say, as much as I thought Biden would fade, he does just keep plugging away. And as of the present time, you'd have to say that the party is moving away from the left, moving back towards Buttigieg, who's sort of a moderate, and Biden, who's sort of a moderate. This is by Democratic Party standards. And so I think it's very hard to see how Bloomberg finds an avenue to get to be the nominee in that context.
Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Good to be with you.
All right.